All right, Jonathan, is that phone call for the radio, or should I go on to the next one?
Sure. It's Jared on the phone with us.
Jared.
Hey,
our regular. Now, you realize what's going to happen.
God knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, you're going to finally become convinced that we're right, and you're going to get all your theology straight, and you're going to be a young earth creationist, and come join us on the program. But go ahead.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that you were going to become an atheist.
That I'm going to become an atheist?
Yeah.
I'd have to have a lobotomy to do that. Twice. I'd have 2 lobotomies.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so there's never a lack of stuff to talk about with you. Here's the first thing. Did you check up on that Barney Maddox thing?
Yes, we have the quote from Barney Maddox. You got that, Jonathan?
Well, the full article, I believe, was published in '92. The Creation Evidence Museum. It's creationevidence.org, I believe, and it's on
the article's right on there. Creationevidence.org.
I think what he was talking about there are some very key things in the human body that if you do just change the nucleotide sequence by 1 or 2 or 3, then you completely destroy that function. So that's what I think the scope of his article was. I passed it along to a few geneticists to get their comments on it. I'm still actually waiting on those.
The whole thing was part of an interview with Barney Maddox. Go to creationevidence.org, and the article's right there. Okay?
Yeah. Okay, I'll do that. And is that his website or?
No, that's the website for Carl Baugh.
Yeah.
Okay.
He published it through a medium that Carl Baugh has initiated, which is, I guess, Fax Sheet is what it's called. So it's down if you go to archives, I believe, on the left or something like that. It's in there.
You can just search on Maddox.
Yeah.
But anyway, the point is, there are billions and billions and billions of little points or parts to the human genetic code.
Yep, about 3 billion.
And it's incredibly complex.
Mm-hmm.
Can you think of a book that might have 3 billion letters in it?
3 billion letters?
Probably more like the whole Encyclopedia Britannica.
I think probably a lot more than the Encyclopedia Britannica, but
okay.
It depends on how you change the code around since it's...
I've got the, what is this? The Van Nostrand's Scientific Encyclopedia, 6th edition, the hernia version.
Weighs 40 pounds.
This thing is huge.
4 inches thick.
Yeah. Is that 4? It looks a lot more.
4.5, maybe. Anyway.
I'll start counting the letters while you guys straighten things out. I guess.
What is the probability of a series of encyclopedias forming by chance by throwing out letters of the alphabet?
It depends on what you mean.
Well, first of all, it's not just letters of the alphabet. Each of the parts of the DNA code, the C, A, T, G, each of those is very complex. See, the evolutionist is guilty of grossly oversimplifying this problem. If I flew over the city of Pensacola with a helicopter and looked down on the highway and said, wow, we have 4 basic types of vehicles down there: car, truck, bus, and motorcycle. Okay, well, that's probably true. Most of the vehicles would fit into one of those 4 categories. But each of those individually is incredibly complex.
You look at just the composition of the amino acid, and there's an acronym that you can remember if you want to distinguish which ones are different. It's actually the main composition is HONC, H-O-N-C. The very first letter, they're all distinguished by a different side change, which makes them different. But HONC, they all have at least 1 hydrogen bond, 2 oxygen bonds, and 3 nitrogens, and 1 carbon. I mean, they're not simple things. These things are very complex in themselves. I mean, down to the basic nothingness, it is utter complexity. I mean, you can go further than that and still be mind blown.
Yeah, so is a snowflake.
Well, snowflake is that's like a short repetition, ABC, 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 ABC. That is not like a specified complexity. So a bad example there.
Jonathan, have you ever looked at the different types of snowflakes that can form at different temperatures and humidities?
Of course.
Yeah, he's from Illinois. They got lots of it up there.
Oh, yeah, we got tons of snowflakes.
Then surely you would know that what you just said is not really accurate.
No, it is accurate. I think you can even talk to crystal formation specialists, and they will tell you the exact same principle here. Do what?
I have. I've talked to a mathematician who studies this extensively, and the complexity that you can find within snowflakes is staggeringly amazing.
It doesn't matter if it's complex or not. It's specified complexity. You know, a rock face is staggeringly complex.
That's true.
Okay, but it's not specified. It doesn't mean anything. Anything in the world is complex. A ball of twisted yarn is incredibly complex. The chances that ball of yarn would be like that are just mind-blowing. But whenever you add specificity to it, that's where you start getting into some very serious different levels. So saying an amino acid composition is comparable to a snowflake composition is that's apples and oranges. That's not the same thing.
And there's information in there. There's no information in a snowflake. There's information in the DNA code. That's the complicated thing.
Right. Okay.
A computer disk, for instance, is not just magnetized, magnetic material, or like a computer, a tape or something. It's information. Just like a book is not just ink and paper. It's information, and that's what evolutionists somehow don't get.
Oh, come on. Of course they get that.
Where did this information come from?
The information comes from natural selection, chemical properties of DNA, and natural selection.
Wait a minute. So it's just innate in the DNA?
Can you speak up just a little bit more for us, Jared? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I might have to call back because I'm talking on my cell phone. It might drop me. What did you just ask me?
Well, so is the information just automatically built into the DNA, and if so, who put it in there?
No, not the information itself, but the capacity to have information is part of what DNA is. That's what it does, as you point out.
Well, saying what it does and pointing out that it works very well is not answering the question of how it originated.
Are we talking about abiogenesis or post-abiogenesis or creation of the first cell?
Well, I guess I'll let you talk about either one. I don't see how...
Okay, let's forget about abiogenesis then, because that's a can of worms I don't really want to open up.
Would you agree that is a major can of worms for any origin of life theorist?
Origin of life? Well, that's what it is.
I know, but to anybody who wants to theorize a naturalistic way for life to get started.
Had a sneeze break there.
Yeah, of course.
And they have a serious problem. Okay.
That has nothing to do with the theory of evolution, though.
All right, well, I'm going to give you living organisms.
Okay.
Now, you're going to change it into greater variety of living organisms.
Mm-hmm.
And you're telling me, I want you to tell me how that happens. How do we get from what some people would consider a simple cell, by the way, there's no such thing, but simple cell to complex organisms? How do you get there?